In this episode of Sarah Has Questions, we are tackling body image. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, who among us has not dealt with body image? But we have the best doctor ever, Dr. Micah Krempasky, back, and she's going to put a little perspective on everything. I'm Sarah King, and I have a lot of questions. Hormone replacement therapy. Will that increase your desire to want to have sex? Gotta get that protein. Get that protein. Ladies, you need the protein. Do you think it's been exaggerated? If I have sex the night before my pap smear, can it mess up my results? In this show, I get to ask WakeMed doctors any question I want, and bless their hearts, they have all the answers. Sarah Has Questions is a production of Mix 101.5 and Capital Broadcasting Company, and it's presented by WakeMed. This is a big topic. This affects, I feel like, every person on the planet.
Oh, I think so too.
Maybe not those in remote jungle areas, but anyone in the civilized world deals with this, and it's body image. And you were really big on bringing this up.
Yes.
So tell me why this was so important to you.
I think that this is something that when I hang out with my friends or I'm just in casual conversation, this comes up every single day, both as a friend, as a parent, as a psychiatrist, as a physician. Like, it is everywhere that people are struggling with their body image.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's pervasive, too. It's not like I struggle with it on Tuesdays. I think it's every minute of every day that this crosses people's minds. And, you know, I always say, live the things that, or talk about the things that you live. And I live this every day. So that's when it becomes really important, is when it hits home for you.
Right. Well, so if it crosses people's mind every single day, because like when I hear body image, I am an eating disorder survivor, and this is very big in the eating disorder world. And so whenever you're in that type of therapy, which I did go to therapy for it, I like to say got cured off the eating disorders. It is something that the fact that you ruminate on this type of things.
Yeah.
Are you talking about ruminating, like a global pandemic of body image rumination?
You know, I think it's a spectrum, but I would say that it takes up a lot of our brain space. And there are so many other things that could fill our brain space.
Oh, that's
but
true.
Instead, we're thinking about our bodies. I think our culture has turned our body into a billboard for self-worth. It's not just about our body, but it's about what it means. It has become tied to everything that we are, how we see ourselves and how other people see us. And then again, if we're worthy.
You know, it's funny. You just made me remember a conversation I had with one of my neighbors. She is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She works with NASA. They consult with her. She'll throw out, and with no ego involved, I got a meeting with NASA next weekend, or, you know, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and she's a professor, and she always just dressed however she wanted to dress. And the other day I saw her and I was like, oh, you are looking foxy, friend. You look like really, she's like, I hope you can hear the eye roll. It was huge. Just realize that how I look really does affect how much people take in what I'm saying.
Yes.
She's brilliant.
Yes. We start to judge people based on what we see. So when you think about how you describe someone, what do we choose to talk about? We don't say, oh, that person with the effervescent.
Sometimes
right.
you do.
Right. So sometimes we talk about, you know, how they interacted or how we felt around them.
Right.
But when we get to just human reaction, we often say the tall person, the person with brown hair, the person, like we come up with ways to describe their body. And that's what we say and that's what we hear. Therefore, our brain encodes it as the most important thing.
That makes sense. Is body image the same for people in their, you know, preteens, teens, 20s, 30s? Like, is it the same all the way through life, or how does it change?
Yeah, I think that we evolve over time and our relationship with our body changes as well. But it's also about what you've experienced through your life.
True.
So I think about we take in whatever is given to us. Well, right now we're seeing social media.
Yeah.
People are constantly comparing themselves and showing their best selves out there. And again,
filters.
Yes, all you see is body, though. You don't really get to see their personality.
Right.
You don't get to see actions. You really only see visual cues. Also, what's on TV, these curated messages that are going into our subconscious every single day, as well as the things that we're saying to each other. I was thinking about this when we see, let's take, for example, a little girl. Well, do we look at them? Oh, you look so pretty today.
I consciously try to stop myself and say, you are so smart, or you are the funniest little thing. Like I really consciously try not to point out her looks.
Exactly, but that's a conscious decision on your part.
It has to be, unfortunately.
It takes work for us to do things differently and for us to say different things to people.
Oh, interesting.
But I think our normal reaction and how we're trained is to comment on people's looks.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And there's a whole body positivity movement, body neutrality movement. And one of the big things is let's not comment on people's bodies. And people get really caught up in that. They're just like, well, if someone's been working out for 3 years and has lost 150 pounds, don't they want me to comment on their body? Yeah. And it's a complicated subject.
It is a really complicated subject. So I think that that's something you can talk about, but does it have to be the first thing that you say to someone?
Right.
Like when I see them, I want to say, gosh, I'm so excited to see you. I want to be in that moment rather than, hey, you look great, or hey, you've lost weight. That lets me know that that's the first thing that you're thinking about rather than your joy of just spending time with me.
And my other, what my instant reaction to that is like if someone were to say, oh, you've lost weight, they never say, oh, you've gained weight.
Right.
They never bring that up.
Yeah.
And so that to me implies that gaining weight is negative when in fact bodies just change shape over time.
Bodies change.
You'll get bigger, you'll get smaller, and it's just the way it works.
And it also, when you say you've lost weight, that's an accomplishment. That's getting tagged as an accomplishment, and it may or may not be.
Right.
Who knows what's going on with that? But there becomes this association that is something to be proud of. That is something to achieve, and that may or may not be your story.
Well, what exactly is meant by the term body image? Let's get technical.
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. So I think it's about how we internalize how we feel about our body, what it means for us. So when we think about its shape, its size, its characteristics, that's how we internalize body image. But we can also flip that and think about looking at what our bodies do for us.
Right.
Our bodies don't have to be what we see in a selfie, but rather they can be about what our bodies do. Like they allow us to hug our children. They allow us to hike up mountains. They allow us to be together. They don't have to be about what the body looks like.
Right. And in my eating disorder recovery therapy, it's a mouthful, ironically, is that like whenever you get caught up in your body image in your brain, to flip the script and think, oh, my body is experiencing the coolness of this water.
Yes.
My body is experiencing the smell and the feel of this lotion. Yeah. Like your body is the source of senses and how you take in information.
Yes, that's mindfulness,
yeah.
Right? Like think about what you're experiencing in the moment, and your body allows you to do that rather than judging it for characteristics that you may or may not have control over.
You mentioned that you had a brand to me. We've full disclosure, we've had lunch. And you mentioned that you saw a stylist and the act of her telling you, what's your brand really was a big moment for you.
Yep. So I'll go back to your friend who's consults with NASA.
Yeah.
What she said was, oh, people hear me more when they like the way I look. So that was a similar journey for me. And I was like, oh, wait, I need to think about what clothes I'm wearing and, what that says about me. And so I met with a stylist, and the first question she said was, what's your brand? What do you want to put out there? And I was like, whatever makes me look skinny. Like, you mean you're supposed to buy clothes based on what image you want to portray, not what makes you look the skinniest?
Interesting.
And that was a moment like I hadn't even thought about that. But I had never bought clothes for what I wanted to portray. I was always buying clothes for how they looked on my body. And it was this aha moment of, oh, clothes are something other than disguising what I do or don't like about my body.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty big moment.
And what did you learn about your personal brand? Not yours in particular, but about branding yourself.
Yeah, so I keep thinking about that, of what do I want to put out there with the clothes that I wear. Now, I wish that we weren't judging each other on what we wear.
Right.
But I try to find things that I think are cool or fun or, have a little edge to them or cozy. Like, I try to think about other things, but it still pops into my head of how does this look on my body?
Right. And also, so when you're dressing this way, because there's also, what do they call it? Dopamine dressing and, power dressing, shoulder pads, whenever you are dressing that way, do you still think about being skinny?
Yeah. I have to, just like you said about talking to young women, I have to be kind to myself and think about, no, there's so much more about this clothing. I actually have gone on the route of finding things that I'm comfortable in. I'm
with that.
It's all about not restricting myself. So I've been really thoughtful about what shoes I wear, because if I wear uncomfortable shoes that may look really good, I walk less. Well, I want to be healthy. I want to get my exercise in. I want to be active. If looking good impairs me from doing that, then that's probably not the right shoes for me. So I've been much more thoughtful about how this will allow me to achieve and do the things I want to do.
So there is a perceived body image, is what people see. You have the conceptual body image, is what you think about yourself, the cognitive body image.
Yes.
And then there's the behavioral body image, right?
You are so scientific. I really like these categories.
Thank you.
Now you define behavioral body image for me.
That's hard for me. Behavioral body image is how I would imagine it's like what we said about going into the water and understanding your body in the water.
Yeah. So experiencing it for the things that it's doing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's about how
it behaves.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay, good.
Look at that.
Are there any red flags when it comes to body image that you need to be looking out for yourself and perhaps for your kids?
Yeah. So
your friends.
Yeah. I think it's really important to just think about the words that are coming out of your mouth about your body. So especially as parents, people are soaking up, our little ones are soaking up everything we say. So when we say, oh, I hate my thighs, or, anything that we're saying about ourselves, they are absorbing as something that they should care about. So one of the rules that I have is I just don't comment on my body.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. And I have a lot of self-compassion. So I try to, again, talk about what my body does for me. But again, I just have that neutrality around it, that I just don't bring up those conversations. And it's just, I focus on other things.
Right.
So I think seeing someone who's thinking about their body a lot, who's commenting on it, of really being able to
apart.
Yeah. Of just spending a lot of time and a lot of brain power on it.
Yeah. But you said everyone thinks about it. How do you know what's too much?
Yeah, I think that's going to be different for every person.
Okay.
So, my goal in life would be that we didn't think about it at all.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
But go back to our third year in life when we were just being.
Right. When we just show up and we are who we are, and no one has taught us of things to be shameful about or things that we need to change. We just show up as our authentic selves.
Right. So if someone's struggling with body image, maybe they have body dysmorphia, which quickly, could you tell us what that is?
So body dysmorphia is when you don't see your body for the way it is. Like, you really see a distorted figure of your body, which is far different than how your body actually appears. And it gets into a disorder, so that really starts to cause physiological impairments, psychological impairments.
Okay. So if, let's just say you see some red flags within yourself, what are some resources for people? Maybe they don't have a therapist. Maybe they want to try a book first or something.
Yeah, so I always think of going to your medical doctor is a great place to start, because we need to think, is there something else going on with you? We need to understand, are we healthy? What is our medical health going on? And that's a great place to go. And then I think that just educating yourself about what's out there, reading about it, and bringing it into your conscience. When it's in your subconscious, it's driving you without you recognizing it. And in fact, when you start to think about it, those automatic thoughts start to become more clear.
Right.
And once you bring them into focus, then they kind of dissipate.
I have a tip.
Okay.
A tip, because like I said, I've been dealing with this for quite a while, is I curated my Instagram and all of my social media. Every time a diet ad comes up or an exercise ad comes up, and it feels so good to do, hit the 3 dots and say it's offensive. and it takes it out of my feed. And
That
so
is
now
so smart.
and then, I literally have no diets. None of that is in my feed. And it's actually kind of funny, some of the ads that come up when you take that out, because there's so many ads.
Right.
But then I also started populating with people who look like me, and people who like to teach them how to dress like with a body that looks like your own.
Yeah.
And so it is doing the same thing media is doing if you don't curate it, which is only show you late teens, 20s bodies, which is what people tend to see in advertisements. And now I'm just seeing people in their 30s and 40s and 50s. And it really, it has helped me a great deal. So that's my tip to everybody.
You are a star student. That is exactly what we need to do, is recognize what we're struggling with and then make conscious decisions about how we change what is going into our brain. And what goes into our brain then takes up less space, or are the things that we want to take up space.
Yeah.
We curate what's going in
You feed the wolf. There's two wolves, the bad one and the good one. You feed the good wolf, the bad wolf will die.
Yeah.
Well, I'm eloquent way of saying that.
I
I'm
love
sure.
it. I love the work that you've done and how you're sharing so vulnerably. That's really important to share our own stories, because then people can relate to it and like, oh gosh, she's had a similar struggle to me, or hey, that sounds like my story. And it's a way for people to connect and know that they're not alone. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you for coming in and sharing your expertise.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Dr. Micah Krempasky, I just love her. She could talk me through anything. Listen, if you're considering a therapist, start at wakemed.org. Thanks for listening and watching. Share this episode with a friend, and we'll see you next time.